Hey there everybody, and today I want to talk to you about how depression is a sneaky little bugger that tries to keep itself going. Hey there everyone, my name's Dave, aka Mindset by Dave, and I've been a mindset and mental health coach for the last 4.5 years, as well as living my life with type 2 bipolar disorder, meaning I have a lot of personal lived experience with depression. Today I want to talk to you about a particular part of depression called Anhedonia. Now it's pronounced Anhedonia as if it's like some person called Anna and her surname's Donia, but it's spelled Anhedonia, and it basically is the opposite of hedonism. Anhedonia, hedonism. And basically what this means is the inability to perceive pleasure from otherwise pleasurable activities. And why this is a particular problem when it comes to depression is because ultimately we often get given those pieces of advice of just do something you enjoy. And that's great when anhedonia is not present. And if you've ever experienced depression without anhedonia, which you probably have, you'll have experienced the fact that you can still enjoy it. You're in a really depressed state, but then something happy happens, like your football team scores, or you enjoy a really good movie, or a friend comes to see you and makes you laugh. You know, these things happen, and then you feel pleasure, you feel something. However, if you've ever experienced it with anhedonia, what this means is that in those same situations, you still wouldn't feel the pleasure. Now, this can be a problem because what it actually causes a lot of people to do is throw out their self-care, because the self-care isn't having the effect that it had before. Let's say, for example, you in the past have treated your depression by going to the gym. You go to the gym, you feel great afterwards, you may be feeling absolutely terrible before a workout, but then you get the workout done, you come home, you've got those endorphins, and everything's feeling good. But then when anhedonia is present, that doesn't happen. The way I try and describe this is we don't see the effect of what is happening on the surface. We don't feel the effect of what is happening. However, there are things happening in the background. And the way I often describe it is feeling depressed can be a lot like having your head underwater. Be like, you can't breathe, you can't see, everything's foggy, it's not clear. And the things that you're doing are propping you up to get you a little bit closer to the surface of that water. Now, if you're going through a reasonably rough time, that self-care might be enough to get your head above the water. You can breathe, you feel like things are okay, and you can get up some of that momentum and start moving forward with your day. However, if you're even further into that depression, or if anhedonia is present, you do those things and they take you closer to the surface of the water. There are things going on in the background. This is the important part. There's things happening in the background, and there's the collateral benefits of the things that you do for your self-care other than just how you feel about them. But because we don't feel as if the self-care is working, we stop doing the self-care. Now, the thing with that is when you take that away, now you're actually not getting any closer to that. Now you're not getting any of those external benefits that aren't directly related to your depression and how you're feeling. If I go for a walk when I'm feeling depressed, some days it's a good mood booster. Other days it doesn't necessarily work, but there are more benefits to that walk than simply the mood booster. And another thing is that I can usually look back at the end of the day and say to myself, take a little victory and say, well, I could have spent the whole day in bed doing nothing, but I'm proud of myself for actually getting out and doing a walk. The benefits aren't just the direct benefit on our mental health and how we feel in that moment. Think of this in the same way that you might do your bank balance. Let's say that you're £4,000 in debt and you go and put £5 into the bank. That's not going to take you out of debt, but it's going to take you closer to being out of debt. But if you look at it as either I am depressed, I'm not depressed, I do feel, I don't feel, I'm in debt, I'm not in debt, then you don't actually win until you're feeling good again, or you're out of that debt. You wouldn't win in that situation until you are completely out of debt, you've put £4,000 in. However, what if the feeling of only being £5 closer, or in your own head saying, well, it's either in debt or out of debt, then makes you not put any more money away. Think about that with your activities. If the feelings around your activities are, well, it didn't make any difference, so what's the point? Why even bother? You're gonna not get closer to that threshold, and you're not gonna get again any of those external benefits. So one of the things I've conditioned myself to do over time is to do the things without the pleasure being there. And it's hard. It is really hard, because it's like, okay, well, I'll go and watch a movie. And like, you might want to watch your favorite movie and it doesn't make you feel the way it did before. Now, if you're not expecting that and you go into that situation, you might be sat there thinking, what's wrong with me? Why am I not getting any enjoyment from this? But if you go into it knowing that, and you know that you're literally going into it to pass some of the time, you're going into that situation to maybe distract yourself a little bit, and you don't have those expectations of this is gonna fix me, then you can actually go in and you're actually doing something for that self-care. Give yourself permission to be there. And for that time, you may find that at least you may be getting a bit of a distraction away from the nagging voice inside your own head telling you that you're doing such a bad job, which you're not, by the way. But that bloody voice will tell you. Another one that I really like to do, and I totally and utterly stumbled across this by accident when I was about 10 or 11 years old. Back then, that was before my diagnosis, so my family just thought I was being moody. So I would be in a sulk, or I would be in what I didn't know at the time was a depression, and we would put on some Billy Connolly. We're talking, what, 1992 type time here? When I was about 10, 11, and they put on some Billy Connolly. And the thing with stand-up comedy, especially stand-up that you've not seen before because it surprises you, one part of Anhedonia is that you can have this inability to feel it, but another part of it is you get into the mindset that you're not going to enjoy anything. And if you're never trying, then you're probably not going to enjoy anything. You can't enjoy something that you don't do. But with stand-up comedy, what it can actually do, if you're out of that period where you can't enjoy it, and you're now in the period where you just think you're not going to enjoy it, stand-up comedy will sneak right by those sort of early defenses. And it actually relies on that. It relies on surprising us. It relies on the ability of surprise to make us laugh. And we used to put this on. Again, no one knew they were doing this for this reason. They just knew that if I was feeling how I was feeling, that'll cheer him up. And that's all they were trying to do. Cheer me up. Stop me from being a moody little bugger, as we thought it was at the time. And I'm so glad we actually stumbled upon that, because I've got a feeling that if someone had suggested that to me now, like I'm suggesting to you, I'd have been like, nah, it's a ridiculous idea. But the reason I've done that as an adult is because actually I've got this frame of reference and I know that it worked when I was a kid. Some days I'll put it on and I won't find it funny. But some days I'll put something on and it'll surprise me. And actually that's a nice little signal to say, you know what? Actually, I'm on my way out of this now. And that's really motivating when that happens. But the big take home from all of this is to remember that the things you do for your self-care, we think that they're working when they feel like they're working, which makes sense. It's mental health. If we feel like it's working when it comes to mental health, as opposed to with physical health. It's there could be a lot going on and we feel like we're getting better, and we could be wrong. Whereas with mental health, with depression is how you feel. So if how you feel is improving, then we think that it's working. But the big important thing of this is to know that you are getting benefits from these things that might not be instantly recognizable. They might be like putting a £5 note at a time in that bank so that you get chipping away a little bit closer to getting yourself out of debt. We're getting ourselves maybe out of emotional debt. That walk is having physical benefits on it. And remember, again, at the end of the day, you can turn around and actually take a little bit of pride, if your brain will allow you to, because again, I know this is a tough one. You can take a little bit of pride in the fact that, you know what, I tried today, and I'm proud of myself for that. So many times have I succumbed to just staying on the couch, and don't get me wrong, some days we need that. But on those days that I'm able to do something, that means everything. I think that's a good place to leave it. If you want to have these type of conversations, which I love to have, come over to twitch.tv/mindsetbydave every Tuesday and Saturday. We are going to be adding in some more stuff coming up. We've got a Fill Your Cup Thursday, which is a meditation stream on a Thursday. In fact, I've got to get ready for that because I'm doing that in about an hour after I finish this video. Also, there's the Discord, which the links are below in the description, where you can come along, you can talk to us about mental health. 2 different ways you can do that in the Discord. Number 1 is there's a mental health channel just called Mental Health. You can tell us things in there, we will respond. Myself, the mods, maybe even both, you'll get a response back in the Mental Health channel. Or you can go into the Mental Health Rant channel, and if you just want to get something off your chest without any responsibility for anyone to respond, without any expectations of anyone to respond, you just want to get it off your chest and you want to be heard, that is what that channel is there for too. And they're both in the Discord, which is linked below. It was a very long outro. I'm going to go. Love you all. See you soon.